Today was a good day at the market. The market rallied for the first time in weeks, and this was the biggest jump up the entire 2022. So let's see what the market has in store for the rest of the week, and let's see how the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq performed today. So we'll start our analysis looking at the 5-minute S&P 500. So the S&P 500 touched the 200-day moving average around the 7 a.m. mark, and since then it's just been moving up all the way to the end of the day today. It started bouncing around the 200-day moving average around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, and then started rallying. It took a comfort in the 20-day, touching the 20-day moving average line, and again started moving up. Took another small decline to the 50-day moving line, but this is just a 5-minute chart. Let's look at the higher time frames and see how it performed to get a better perspective. Now this is the 4-hour time frame. So if you look at the 4-hour time frame, we can clearly see that this period from the 24th of Jan until the 30th of Jan was a period of consolidation. It was just choppy markets, very difficult to trade in, and it was just moving up and down, up and down, up and down through these few days. And this is the first time that the market's broken out. Now, the reason why it wasn't able to break out for such a long period of time was the resistance from the 50-day moving average line. So as you can see, it tried being around that 50-day moving line, testing it, and then it broke out. Now, it's a good sign that it broke out because the next resistance that I see is around the 4574 mark. So not only if you look here, there is a small resistance in this part of the plane, but there's also the 200-day moving line. So what I foresee is that the market is still continuing to rally up to the 200-day moving line, and it's then going to show either some choppiness similar to the one that we've seen in the 50-day moving average line, or it will then bounce back a little and correct itself and go down, either touching these lines again, the 4298, or it may bounce back the 4424. So these are two lines. This is the base that it formed before, so it may retest the base, or it may just like consolidate here. But it seems certain now that the market's going to head towards the 4567 mark. Now this is the daily time frame to give us a little more better perspective as well. Again, we start from a smaller time frame just to see how the markets performed, and then we move higher and higher to get better perspectives, especially if you're a long-term trader. So if you look at the daily time frame, you can see that the market's been moving up after this huge consolidation in the daily charts around the low of the 4300 mark. So if you have gone through my previous videos, you would have remembered that the 4300 mark is of utmost importance, because if you look at the weekly time frame too, there is a lot of resistance at that level. So the markets, again, as I spoke about in the 4-hour time frame, the market's still going to move up to the 4523, 4550 mark, and then it's going to test something in there and either consolidate, move down a little, or correct itself or stabilize itself around there. Now let's look at the weekly chart and see if that gives us a better perspective. Now this is the weekly chart, and as you can see, the market's fairly established itself around the 4300 4390 mark. Now if you remember, the 4300, this was the area that I was talking about all these days, and this was the 50-day moving line, and that's where it kind of plays a very, very important role in acting as a support at this level. So now it has held its ground. Now it seems to be a similar correction to what we have probably seen in the past, where it would touch the 50-day moving line and then move up. So if everything goes well in the coming days, this could potentially evolve into a rally up, and it could break new highs. But I don't see it just going up like a rocket to the sky. There would be some consolidation around these, the yellow line, which is a 20-day moving line, because that could hold as some kind of support or resistance actually, so that the market may try to like either deflect downwards or it may move up. But I think for a short duration, until it touches, there could be a possibility of more of a rally in store for us. Now this is the Nasdaq on the 4-hour time frame, and as you can see, the Nasdaq did maintain a consolidation period, but it has far exceeded the S&P in terms of its rally. So it has moved up today. Just by itself today was around 3%, which is phenomenal. You never see such kind of gains on the Nasdaq, but that shows that technology is leading, and we'll look into the sectors and see how they perform very soon. But Nasdaq again is heading towards the 200-day moving line, so a little more of a rally. I can't predict and tell you it's just going to go up straight up, but there could be some wariness and it may eventually get there, just like the market just doesn't go down in a day and touches like one of these moving lines. It just kind of slowly peaks up there. So that's something to keep in mind as the market progresses higher. Now let's look at the daily time frame and the weekly time frame to see what's next. Now on the daily time frame, it seems that yes, the 200 moving day line is very close, so the markets may react a little differently because it is trying to break out the 200-day moving line on the daily time frame. So there could potentially be some kind of resistance at this level. So let's see what that has to look like on the weekly charts. The weekly charts look promising. So always the weekly is always number one in hierarchy. Then comes daily, then comes 4 hours. I would not pay attention to anything smaller than that time frame unless you're day trading. And day trading just like to get some quick wins. But if you're a long-term trader, always look at weeklies and dailies. Now, as you can see on the weekly, it has held its ground on the 50-day moving line, and it seems to be heading higher. So that's a promising sign. That seems like, you know, the big declines that we saw over the last 4 weeks had settled down. But just probably wait and see what the market has in store for this coming week. So this is the first candle that has been developed for the weekly chart. So even though it seems to be like almost to the top of the day, we have to just wait closer to maybe midweek to see how that materializes, and is it still going to hold its gains to the rest of this week. Now let's look at the sectors and see how that they've performed. So today by itself, the consumer cyclicals performed the best with a 4% increase just today. Technology, and this is where Nasdaq comes in the picture, it performed exceedingly well with a 3.58% increase. Now it's a good perspective to get to see how the market's performing over a span of a week, not just a day. And in the weekly time frame, if you compare it for a week gain, energy again has been leading all the way. The monthly gain for energy is 15%. So as I pointed out in a few of my previous videos, if you were interested in trading a particular sector, energy would be your number one bet into the market, and followed strongly by technology. Because technology also declined a lot. So technology also had its favorable gains in sight, and there's probably a lot more in store if the market's heading in the up direction. So let's look now on these the S&P 500 map and just see how or which particular stocks did well. So Tesla, with a 10% increase just for today, was substantially better than everything else that we had from all the other stocks. Technology sector again performed exceedingly well, followed by communication services, which is Google. Netflix had 11% increase, but I would take that Netflix 11% increase with a grain of salt because it actually declined a lot over the last few weeks. So a lot of people are trying to fish bottoms and invest early into the market. So that's where you would see like the Teslas and the Netflix adding good gains. So if you like what we had in store today, this is just a summary and wrap up of where the markets are heading. In my outlook for the market for this week, I do predict that the market is going to head up until it touches the 200-day moving line on the 4-hour time frame, because the market does seem to be holding its grounds in that time frame period too. And after that time frame, there will be a bit of a consolidation around those strong resistance lines and then break that and go up further. Or it may just like consolidate and move down. So, but I do feel that it's going to head towards the 200-day moving line. So with that, thank you for watching this small recap of the day today. If you would like to know more, if you'd like me to analyze any particular stock, do hit the like button, do subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you would like me to analyze more further. So with that, thank you and have a good rest of your day.